My main page on my website dropped out of my main keyword. I used to be on the first or second page of the SERP, and all of a sudden I was nowhere to be found. Other pages show up great for keywords. Um,
I
but yeah, DJ Francisco, we're gonna have to see more than
hmm
we can't really answer that question. There could be
Well,
a million things that could be
but
causing
but
something
we
like
can,
that.
yeah, we can kind of talk about it. All right, so like if when you're a little bit newer to SEO and you get into page 2, 3, all of a sudden you hit this moment where you're like, "Oh, dude, I'm making it. I'm really doing well." But there's a lot of volatility involved in getting from page 2 to 3 to page 1. Sometimes you might pop up into page 1, disappear back out into 2 or 3. Sometimes you might do the opposite, which is what happened to you, right?
Well, he's saying he
There's a
popped up
lot
to
of
like
different
page one and
reasons.
now he's nowhere.
Yeah, okay. So depending on how new your site is, depending on what kind of things you're doing to that particular page or that particular site, like maybe you're a newer site that's adding a lot of power in the form of backlinks. Maybe you're a newer site that is starting to resonate in these top 3 pages, but you haven't quite solidified into those points yet, right? Google does a lot of testing, a lot of prodding, kind of moving sites around and deciding based on an analysis of what goes on with those sites where your site should be held. And so when you're popping up on those first 3 pages, if you dip out, don't freak out over the course of like 5 to 7 days, right? Or even maybe 2 weeks. Just keep your campaign going per usual. Sometimes this is going to be like a testing phase for the newer sites. If you kind of make the wrong moves, if you start freaking out, it's kind of going to cue that there's something unnatural going on a lot of the time. So you just want to keep your campaign going steady, normal. I would advise at this point in time, if you're building backlinks, naked, branded, random anchors, mainly to the homepage. Try and get things to stabilize. Right now, where you want to be is a normalization of your backlink profile, keep content going, etc. But it sounds like something what a newer site might do, or a newer page that's kind of being tested and prodded. If you're showing up there at all, it's a good sign.
What
So note that.
what's also a good sign is that he's saying his other pages are still popping up just
Yeah.
fine. They're still ranking just fine for
Mhm.
the keywords. So the good news is it doesn't sound like you have any kind of like penalty or anything like crazy going on, right? It's just like Nick said, it could be popping in and out. Sometimes stuff does that. It'll just disappear for no
Yeah.
reason, even if you've been in a top ranking position for a very long time. It
hmm
might just pop out for a while. Um, what are some other things you could check? You
Mm,
know, maybe, I mean, I guess make sure that the page is indexed.
well, I mean, if it's
Just some
popping,
simple
yeah,
stuff.
in and out, then it should be. But
Well, now he's just saying it's
yeah,
gone. Um, that's what I was
well, out of
ranking
the
to.
first couple pages, right? Yeah, I guess if we knew how old this page was, it'd
He
probably
says
help
the
out a little
website
bit.
was built in 2005 and the
Sure.
ranking dropped out in February. So it was a long time ago and it has not come back.
Oh,
Um,
well, that's a yeah, that's going to be different.
yeah, so that kind of changes the way
Um,
we're going to answer this.
you could start by looking up volatility in the SERPs using something like Algoroo, which shows you SERP volatility whenever there's a update happening, or they're kind of shifting things up in the SERPs. It'll show it there, and then based on that, you could kind of reassess by looking at your competitors and what they have that you're lacking in,
Wait. So
because
DJ,
obviously,
sorry, Nick, I just want to pause you real quick. So I'm
yeah.
getting kind of mixed messages here from Francisco. So is your ranking just off of page one, or is it just out of? Because now he's saying out of the first 10. Oh, out of the first 10 pages. My bad.
Yeah, since February.
Okay,
So
so
something went
it's
wrong.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Go
And
ahead.
so no, that's fine. So now, what I would say your best recourse of action is compare that article to your competitors, compare the backlinks profile of that article to its competitors, and then based on that, come up with a kind of profile of what you would want to see or what Google probably wants to see in order to get you up there. So places to look. We just mentioned optimizing content using Surfer SEO. That's probably a good thing to give a try to. Look through your backlinks, see if you haven't done anything that might make it look unnatural. Maybe, back in January and December, you were hitting it with exact match PBNs to try and muscle up past your competitors, and in turn, you actually harmed your campaign. Not to say that you can't do that, but it's just a lot of times people get close and then they make the biggest mistakes by over optimizing things, thinking they can just do exact matches to muscle things up, etc. When really what you want to do is just keep things natural. But if this much time has passed, which is almost a year now, and you dropped out, then you dropped out of favor altogether.
Yeah, so I'm
So
gonna go on a limb here. I'm gonna say we're guessing because we can't really see everything ourselves here, but I'm gonna guess that it's not your off page because the rest of the site's doing just fine. I'm gonna guess that and like Nick said, it's not like you just fell off like onto, page two or page three or something. So it's not just that you're like falling
yeah.
behind the competition slightly on your content or something. It seems more kind of like a big issue. Or not a big issue, but the issue I would look into is if your content matches the search intent. So basically, like if your website or your keyword or whatever is like um, so basically is your content like informational or is it like trying to sell? And then see what the top rankers are doing. Um,
Hmm.
like so, when people search for your keyword, is your content actually matching what they're trying to find, or is it just not matching up at all? I feel like that's probably gonna, well, that would be my first guess of where I
So
would be looking.
yeah, and in you talking about that, it's like, all right, well, based on algorithm shifting, maybe look back there. Maybe when you were ranking for that, it wasn't a bunch of huge properties. Like, when we talk about like affiliate sites and stuff, a lot of the little ones over the last bigger updates got crushed out by the big names, Amazon, Walmart, etc., right? See what's popping up for that SERP and what kind of sites are kind of gaining interest there.
Just to give you, oh,
Um,
sorry, go ahead.
no, that's all right. And there was one other thing that I thought, oh, right. Something else you could look at is maybe keyword cannibalization. Maybe you had this article up and then you're like, well, I'll just build some support pages to it. And inadvertently, you created some competing pages in that SERP that now confuse the algorithm. And in that case, you'd need to look at those competing pages and differentiate them from the one that you wanted to rank using permalink structure, title tags, etc.
And
That's just some options.
just to illustrate my example a little bit better, because I feel like my words aren't very good today. Um, for example, so you want to match search intent, right? So, for example, let's just pretend the keyword was iPhones. And when you go look at the top ranking sites that are ranking for the term iPhone, let's just pretend that all of the sites that were ranking were like, what is an iPhone? All about the
Yeah.
iPhone, iPhone features, what the iPhone can do. It's basically informational content about the iPhone. And your page that you were trying to rank for iPhone was like, buy an iPhone here. So this would be an example of your page not matching the search intent of the keyword. Google is saying we want content that's about basically just giving information about the iPhone rather than trying to sell an iPhone. And this happens all the time where Google will they'll just maybe slowly over time, or sometimes it even happens pretty quickly. Well, they'll just decide, okay, this SERP is no longer a selling SERP. This is now an informational SERP.
Hmm.
So I don't know. That's what I'd be paying attention to if I were you. But yeah, like we were saying, DJ Francisco, I haven't seen your name around here before. If you want us to look into things a little bit more, be sure to join our Facebook group, SEO Roundtable. And you'll see me and Nick in there, and or you could just send one of us or our Facebook business page. You could send us a message with your site so that you're not showing it publicly, and we could look in things a little bit more in depth. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to check the description below for links to our blog for more info on this topic, along with a bunch of other cool stuff like case studies, our Facebook community, and our link building services. And like always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell if you enjoyed the video. Thanks and happy ranking.